I had so much fun doing the 1,000-year-old vampire story that I thought I would do it again. So here I am with this book, and this time I thought that I wanted to, since it was so interesting to do the vampire part, and I thought the book was had so many different options to it. I thought, well, I like the Headless Horseman. So what if I turn it from 1,000-year-old vampire game story, choose your own adventure, into a Headless Horseman story. And I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work. When I did my first run through the book, the vampire, that became like a over 9 hour long session. And I thought, well, if the Headless Horseman goes that long, I don't even know what it would be like. So I did it today, and it actually turned out to be, I'm looking at my notes, it actually turned out to be about 3.5 hours long. And this is what I came up with. These are my notes. So not too bad. Now, I am a huge Headless Horseman fan. Here's a little snow globe. I don't know if you can see it. I have, of course, the Headless Horseman little figure. I have the horse, right? So I was pretty excited about it, just to see what I could change, just see what I can do. Skull. And I wanted, if I could, I wanted to include a castle. Now, this is a Castlevania castle, Symphony of the Night. It's a little 3D printed thing. But I was like, man, this thing might go epic, right? Like literally. Oh, and I also have a necklace. Oops, I don't know if you can see it. That I actually bought in Sleepy Hollow. I visited Sleepy Hollow. So I have this. Anyways, you get the point. I like the Headless Horseman. So here we go. Oh, so in case you don't know, so this is a book you can buy, 1,000-year-old vampire. And the basics are, not to dwell on the basics, but the basics are you create a character, the basics, and then using 2 dice. This is a 6-sided dice, which is your normal dice that you can buy. And then this is a 10-sided dice, as the numbers. And you roll them. This is what I do in. You roll it, and you do adding, subtracting, and it tells you what page to go next. And so it's kind of randomly chosen. No story should ever be the same. So here we go. 3 minutes into it. Now here is my Headless Horseman 1,000-year-old vampire story. So this starts in 1775 in Ireland. And I named my character Nothing. I love 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I love the name Nemo. So I looked up the word nothing in Gaelic, Irish, right? And it just wasn't working. I didn't know if I was going to pronounce it right, whatever. So his name is Nothing. My character's name is Nothing. He is a 24-year-old Irish person, and he is a shepherd. He is living with his father and his mother. Okay, so here's the story. 1775, Nothing. A sheep wanders into a bog. Nothing rescues the sheep, but accidentally wanders into a fairy's circle. He is attacked. The sheep is pulled under. So the sheep is killed. But he survives So Nothing crawls out of, gets out of the fairy circle. He survives the fairy attack, but he is given a. But when he comes out, he has the appearance of a green type of flame coming from his eyes, right? Not as big as this, but basically, if you were to like look up close in his eyes, you would see like a green flame in the pupil, not like flowing out of his face. A nearby farmer finds him. The farmer wakes him up, and when the farmer looks into his eyes, he screams and runs. He ends up drowning in the bog. So the farmer finds him dead. Now we go to page 1 of the book. Nothing runs home and finds his mother. She looks into his eyes and screams like a deep pain. Green flame flows from his eyes into hers, and she becomes engulfed in the flame. Almost, she's on fire. She collapses, and when she regains consciousness, her eyes are green flames like his. He has made her into like him, an immortal. Don't know how that happened. It just did. Rolled the dice. So I rolled the dice. Took me to page 3. The father learns of the changes to his son and wife and tries to help them. Tries to help and hide them. Roll the dice. Page 5. Over time, the father becomes overwhelmed by the secret and burden and confesses to their local priest. The mother finds out and murders him. So the mother, I decided the mother, while Nothing, it's the main character, the man, while he was, got attacked by the fairies and he's kind of come out normal-ish mentally, I decided on page 5 that I was going to have the mother not come out right. She was not resurrected her normal self. Something's twisted inside of her. Something's tainted, corrupted, poisoned. Not like him. And so she murders her husband, his father. Roll the dice. I then go to page 8. While roaming the bog at night, Nothing sees another person with glowing green eyes on top of a hill watching him. The person disappears. So there's a third one. A third person like that. I rolled the dice. Page 5. I'm back to page 5. Nothing has a dream of his father, his murdered father, his dead father. The father tells him in the dream that the mother, his wife, has been corrupted, is evil, and must be killed. Now Nothing's eyes, so the father comes to him in a dream, says, hey, your mom's killed me, she's crazy, you gotta take her out. And when Nothing wakes up, there's a change in his eyes. When he's around his mother now, for some reason, because again, I'm going off of what the book kind of tells you to do. When he's around his mother, the glowing green in his eyes isn't as bright. So something in him has changed. Roll the dice. Page 9. For food, Nothing in his mother slowly drained life from the wildlife. Because remember, this is a vampire story, so it's going to say like you have to drain. So I decided that they had the ability, since I'm not going to have them drink blood. The Headless Horseman isn't a vampire, but I figured they would somehow like drain the energy, like they could touch you, and maybe their eyes lit up, and they could take energy from you, not kill you, if they wanted to. They could just, yeah. Roll the dice, page 12. The church becomes more prevalent. The mother is caught looking into a child's window at night. She runs, but is tracked back to the cottage. Nothing persuades the priest to send the villagers away by promising to show the priest their powers. So the mother's lurking around the village. She gets caught, and they make a deal with the priest, like, hey, basically lie, send everyone away. And I basically thought it. Oh wait, so hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. Now page 19. Page 19. The priest enjoys Nothing's company, but does not trust his mother. She seems different. Nothing manages to keep them civil by letting the priest interview them for his. Oh, so basically, I kind of turned it into Interview with the Vampire, where basically the priest is just, he actually has these possessed people. So now he's studying them. He's, by not turning them in to the villagers, he's getting to interview them and write down whatever. So that's the kind of bargain. And his book's going to be called Demons and Possessed Mortals. Page 19. Realizing that his mother is a threat, Nothing sets her up to be caught by the village. She is given to the priest and church and is executed while Nothing watches in the background. So the mom got crazy and gave her up. Roll the dice, page 20. The construction of a large dock is completed and more ships come by to trade. Nothing travels back and forth to mainland Europe. So the village starts becoming a big town, and now I can get the character Nothing into Europe, which is good because I needed him to get into Europe. So now I'm able to do that. Page 26. Nothing gets drunk in France. So now he's in France. He gets drunk in France, sleeps with a French whore, because you gotta have one of those, right? And in the morning, she wakes up with glowing green flame eyes like him. So somehow, some way, he has transferred some of his powers into her through intercourse, and she wakes up like him. Page 34. Becoming absolutely confused and enraged by this, Nothing vows never to return home. Page 36. Sinking into despair, Nothing believes himself to be cursed and a monster. Page 39 was pretty much what the previous one was, so now page 46. Nothing, and I named the French lady, I named her the French word for forest, like the trees. So I think it's pronounced Foray. So the French woman is named Foray, Forest. I like that name. Well, I like Forest. So that's her name. Page 46. Nothing and Foray are caught draining other whores on the streets. They become separated while fleeing, and Nothing takes a ship to Britain and then to the Americas. Using Foray's money, because he carried the money, he changes his identity and claims to be an experienced fighter, able to drain his enemy's strength just by looking at them. The British, and here's how I get the Headless Horseman aspect, the British Army recruits him and places him in a Hessian cavalry during the Revolutionary War. His name is now Soleil, which means sun in French. So due to page 46, I was able to get rid of Foray, the female, and get my character from France, to Britain, to America, to Hessian cavalry fighting for the British in a Hessian cavalry during the Revolutionary War. Boom. He's pretty happy about that. And he changed his name to Soleil, which is French for the sun. I like that name. Or I like the sun. So that's his name. Page 51. While fighting the colonial militias, Soleil becomes almost like an animal with so many soldiers to drain. So now he's just feeding, right? He's just feeding off all these soldiers. Page 49. What does my spelling say? Oh, page 49. Soleil becomes an expert horse rider. Because remember, the Headless Horseman has to have a horse. So now I'm able to incorporate that. Page 44. One night, while he's with the horse at a watering hole, Foray steps out from the darkness and demands her stolen money back. Soleil gives her all of his money, and she curses him to eternal damnation. As she is leaving, she whispers something to his horse. The horse's eyes flash a green and then go back to normal. She leaves laughing. So the French lady he abandoned found him in the United States. And she did something to his horse. Page 48. Soleil wakes up. Soleil goes to sleep. He wakes up with combat all around him. Death and cannon fire are everywhere. They've been ambushed. So they went to bed. His cavalry, they went to bed, and he wakes up and it's just explosions. They've been ambushed, they're under attack. Most of his Hessian cavalry troops have been wiped out. He is surrounded. Page 50. Soleil jumps onto his horse and attempts to ride off. When almost to freedom, the horse's eyes go green and the horse bucks Soleil off. So remember, Foray, the woman, she said something, did something to the horse. Well, I don't know what she did. Well, you find out she basically put this thing into the horse. And so now the horse bucks him. And now Soleil is thrown off his horse under attack. And the horse is abandoning him. The horse gallops off, but then is cut down by a barrage of fire from everywhere. So the horse is like, I made it, and then musket fire, and so the horse is just demolished. Soleil stands up. So he's been bucked off the horse. He gets back up. He stands up, and as he draws his sword to fight for his life, a cannonball blows his head off. So he gets up and he's looking around, and then his head is just gone. Because it's the Headless Horseman. I had to get that in there, right? Page 50. I rolled the dice. I got page 50 again, which means 0. But anyways, a few nights later, Soleil stands up looking for his head. So he gets up. Looking for his head. There are looters and local scavengers everywhere. So it's just a bloody battlefield. It's days later, bloody. He walks up to his dead horse. So he walks up to the dead horse. The horse's eyes become alive with green fairy flame. Because remember, all this power is coming from the fairies that he was attacked a long time ago in Ireland. The horse's eyes become alive with green fairy flame, and it stands ready. The horse resurrects. Soleil mounts the horse, draws his sword, and rides through the decimated battlefield, searching for his head. He's looking for his head and cutting down any looters or scavengers he comes across. The Headless Horseman begins. So that's how I was able to incorporate. See how the horse has the green eyes? Oh, there's the sword. You get the point. So that's how I got the Headless Horseman created. And now he's riding around the battlefield looking for his head, and he's just hacking people up, all the scavengers and whatever. Because there's dead bodies everywhere, right? It's a Revolutionary War. People are stealing boots and swords and money and whatever, and he's taking them out. So begins the Headless Horseman. Page 53. Unknown to the Headless Horseman, so now Soleil has become the Headless Horseman. Unknown to the Headless Horseman, Foray, the French woman, had found his head and given it to the British Army as a way to torment and keep the horsemen in the area, killing all the colonists he found. The British Army and the horsemen... the British Army retreat, and the horseman is kept and used as a weapon. Oh yeah, so you find out, so Foray went there, found his head, and gave it to the British, and the British were like, hey, we're leaving, we're losing the war, right? So we're just going to keep his head, and now the Headless Horseman is basically going to haunt the new, what's going to become the United States. Like, we're going to keep him there to kill, those damn colonists. Page 52. The horseman realizes that if he looks at his reflection in still water, he can see his head and face still attached, the way he used to look when human. I don't know what the book said, but yeah, I was like, well, I don't know what to... So yeah, I just had it to where when the horseman finds out that if he looks into water, still water, like a mirror basically, he can actually see his face, his actual reflection as a human. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because it's kind of sad, right? This guy, what he's become. So I thought that was a cool way to kind of add a little bit of torture into it. Considering what the book told me to do, that's what I came up with. On page 52. Okay, so now page 55. Page 55. When he's near his horse, he can use both of their powers to manifest a green phantasmal flame from the souls of the people he has killed. He uses it when he is lonely, riding through the Sleepy Hollow forest. Yeah, so when he's next to his horse, he gains more power. And so I came up with, he can create ghost, basically. Like, so everyone he kills, because he's just hacking heads off everywhere, right? Maybe he's draining bits of their soul. That's what the green is. This green type of a flame. And now he's creating life-sized people, but only people that he's killed. So I don't know if you want to say he's got a piece of their soul. Like, basically these people are in limbo. They can't go to, the afterlife, because if you're killed by him, you absorb into him, and he can bring you back, But he's doing it basically because he gets lonely. But of course, the torturous part is he's resurrecting people that he's murdered. So I thought that was an interesting thing. I'm almost done, by the way. That's how quick this was. Page 56. The Headless Horseman begins frequenting a graveyard to secretly build a permanent resting place for him and a spectral horse during the day. So it can only come out at night. In the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, that's where there's an actual the graveyard. You can go there. I've been there. I did a video on it. But you can actually visit the graveyard. So I was like, oh, the book is now allowing me to say why the Headless Horseman goes to that graveyard. So I thought that was interesting to incorporate Legend of Sleepy Hollow story into my Headless Horseman story. Page 53. Page 53. Then, at the end of a night, the sun is rising. The Headless Horseman senses Foray, the French female, nearby. He dismounts and stands at crossroads that lead into different towns and villages. He draws out his axe and plunges his hand into the ground and pulls Foray out by her throat. She is not as strong as him, so as the sun rises, she weakens and is at his mercy. He raises his axe. I don't have an axe. He raises his axe as if to chop her head off, then throws her back to the dirt. She watches as he mounts the horse and rides away back to the graveyard. So she has to sleep during the daytime too. And so he's riding along, and he just senses her, and she has buried herself at crossroads. And there's a reason why I put her buried at the crossroads. That's like a supernatural, spiritual thing, dealing with the energy that comes with crossroads. So yeah, he just senses her, he gets off, just pulls her out of the ground, and then just throws her back. Like he could kill her, right? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, he just leaves her. Page 53. That night, so he goes to the graveyard and he sleeps. But then when night comes, he returns to that crossroad to find her. Foray springs from a tree and plunges a sword deep into his back, causing him to fall off his horse. She kisses him where his lips would be, because remember, he doesn't have a head. She kisses him where his lips would be and then disappears, with her laugh hauntingly echoing through the forest. He pulls out the blade, but a phantasmal green scar remains. So he goes back to see her, and she ambushes him, mocks him basically, and then leaves. Page 55. Months go by. The horseman kills many others. He becomes more skilled and powerful, manifesting phantasmal companions from the heads and souls he has taken. Yeah, so months go by, and every time he kills people, he can summon another entity to I wouldn't say be a slave, but he can summon a different type of person, and so it's wow. So yeah, page 60. One night. Page 60. Children are telling ghost stories around a campfire. The Headless Horseman hacks them to pieces. A disheveled gypsy, I had to have a gypsy. A disheveled gypsy passing through is blamed for it and hanged. So the horseman doesn't discriminate. He sees children at night and he hacks them up. Page 64. The Revolutionary War is over. Settlers sail from around the world to colonize the free America. The horseman has plenty of souls and heads to reap. Page 67. Native American tribes attempt to take back the land. They try to communicate with the horseman to use him as a weapon. The horseman lets them live. So I don't know what page 67 was telling me to do, but I thought, oh, hey, this is interesting, right? You have the Native Americans, First Nation, Indigenous people, whatever. They see the horsemen, and they're kind of like, hey, we can You know, he's a spirit. He's a spirit. You know, he's killing all the settlers, all the colonizers. Let's, you know, befriend him and use him. Let's make him a friend. I thought that was an interesting thing. Page 70. The Native Americans lead the horsemen to sleeping settlers. Once the horseman slaughters them, the Native Americans raid the supplies and take trophies. So now, yeah, the horseman's just doing his thing, which is hacking heads off looking for his, but now the Native Americans are following in his wake, and they're just taking everything. Page 79. The Native Americans tell the horsemen they have a spirit like him, or they know a spirit like him that has been guiding them as well and can help him. So yeah, so now the Indians are like, hey, you know, we know there's another one. There's another one like you who's been telling us what to do and everything. So we think this spirit can help you. So they take the horsemen, you know, to make them mortal again. So they take the horsemen back to their where they are, their camp. And then Foray steps out, revealing she has been leading the tribes all along. The French woman, it's her. She's been telling the Native Americans what to do. But they believe her to be a spirit, or, you know, a good spirit, you know. So she's using them. She's been using them all along. Foray steps out, revealing she has been leading the tribes all along, and that she has the horseman's head. So she steps out, and she's holding the horseman's head. I don't know how she got it back from the British, but she has it. So the horseman slaughters the Native Americans. So the horseman just kills them all. Foray escapes with the head. The Headless Horseman rides on, looking for his head, with many stories, curses, and immortals to come. The end. That's it. Page 70. Oh, no, excuse me, page 79. When I got to page 79, the book said, game's over. Story's over. So that's the ending I had to come up with. I didn't really like that ending. So, I mean, it's definitely wide open. So what I plan to do is, with this book, is I think I'm going to do a part 2. And what I would like the continuing adventures, maybe I can get Ichabod or something, but I'd like to somehow, if the book will let me, I'd like to get this Castlevania castle somehow incorporated into it. So right now we still have... And now what I would like to do is I'd like to have the Headless Horseman go into the future, because the book will say, you know, skip 100 years. I would love to get this guy into, you know, 100 years from now. I would love that, just to see what's that going to be like. But anyway, so that was my Headless Horseman story. I wish you all a good day.